Yeah. Yeah. My job. Live from a boardroom full of CEOs being forced to talk while being held hostage. Ugh.
Oh, no.
Is that what's happening in America? It's an all-new wacky Wednesday edition of Business Fans, joined by analyst Matt Mascardi. On today's long list of curated sadness called January 28th, 2026, a very special CEO blowhard index bad game. That's a lot of words. What's going on?
We didn't workshop that name, did we?
It wasn't okay. We're a day late on this because of unforeseen technical difficulties, circumstances. But I want to, before we get into this, I want to say that I wasn't planning on doing this show, but we had a call out, a positive call out from someone we met at the Roosevelt Giles. What was that called? Stakeholder Impact? No. What was that called? Stakeholder Impact Foundation cohort?
Something like that.
It's a cohort. Yeah. I know it was a cohort. Who sent, I think both of us, the memo that that came from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce, the CEOs in Minnesota, their response to everything going on with ICE in Minneapolis and the country. So I decided, fine, I will pivot. Let's talk about it. I wanted to talk about these CEOs. So I dedicated a whole show around it, and I turned it into a game because that's what we do here. We take depressing things and we turn them
into depressing games.
No, come on, the game. This is the most fun game ever. So what I'm going to have you do, first I'll give you a little background. I just tried to gather every CEO response I could kind of find, and I'm just going to have you slap a score on it. Maybe, and I'll let you take it in any direction you want. How bad it is, how sincere it is, how much you care. I don't know. What do you think?
What's my scoring scale? Is it like 5 globes versus 3 unicorns?
It's always, I think, 1 to 10, 0 to 10. Yeah.
0 to 10. So 0 is bad and 10 is good.
Okay, fine. And let me give you a little bit of background.
I'm asking. I don't know. Yeah. It's your game.
Well, first of all, our show today is being sponsored by Free Flow Analytics and freeflowanalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power connections and performance for free. Where a lot of the CEOs, all of the CEOs we talk about today can be found on that platform. Okay, let's just let's quickly get the background out of the way. I don't know who in America and probably Western Europe is not paying attention to the story of what's going on in America with the ICE, who is ICE? It's like untrained goons, untrained police goons. Who are they? They get big bonuses. They're like CFOs. They get a golden hello.
No, I think 1 year ago they were sort of like
they beat people up.
They were like basically, inattentive fathers playing Call of Duty online.
Maybe they were in the January 6th insurrection. We don't even know.
I think there was a Daily Show bit on the advertisements that they were using to recruit.
Yeah.
And it was basically, do you want to shoot someone? Yeah. Come out for ICE.
And to be fair, this is not a new thing in America. We've always had these types of police enforcement going around finding people who are here, quote unquote, illegally and trying to get rid of them. This is not a new thing. But it's never been done with such like fear tactics, gusto, violence,
casual disregard for humanity,
and purely targeting people of color. I mean, it is pure. In fact, a lot of us who live in these cities. I live in a small city where ICE is currently doing their operations, and the very first thing you notice is whenever you look around, you only see white people because only white people are comfortable leaving their homes at this point. People of color they're not going to work, they're not going to school, they're not doing their daily activities. That you just don't see them as much. They're hiding. I mean, understandably so. So this is a much different atmosphere than there's ever been in America. And let me put a quick time on this because this began in 2025. This is not a new thing. In fact, we've all been talking about the deaths of Alex Pretti and Rebecca Good, right? Do I have those names right?
Yeah. Renée Good.
Renée Good. There were 32 people killed by ICE in 2025. There's already 9 killed in 2026, including those 2 people. But those 2 are, they are notably white, right? So, but
what they are is not immigrants, and they were just protesting and filming ICE tactics.
But of the other 40, roughly 40 that have been killed by ICE, not all of them were here illegally. Not all of them were violent criminals.
Oh, of course.
Right. Just so we're clear. So I'm trying to set the immediate context here, which is that this has been going on for a while. ICE announced their enforcement surge in Minneapolis in December. And in January 6th, it really started in earnest, sending 2,000 agents. January 7th is when Renée Good was killed. That's 3 weeks ago. There have been massive protests in Minneapolis. And January 13th, already more than 2 weeks ago, there was so many stories about anger at Target. What's Target going to do? Target employees arrested. Target employees skipping work. There was a huge protest and strike on January 23rd in Minneapolis called the Statewide Day of Truth and Freedom. And then 4 days ago, Alex Pretti was killed. And then finally, day after that, the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce released this well-known letter now on behalf of more than 60 CEOs of Minnesota-based companies today. So I just wanted to set the brief context here that there's been so much going on that these CEOs waited and stayed silent before they came up with this idea for this letter. And I'm not here to crap on the letter. I'm hoping
I'll do that.
Okay, you can do that. I'm hoping that maybe this is the rebirth of people talking. Maybe the CEOs are going to get their spine again. Maybe some kind of a stakeholder movement will be recreated.
You're
I don't know.
So optimistic.
I know, but I'm just hoping. Look, it had to happen. We've been waiting for them to speak, so I'll take something. I'll take even like the smallest of victories. But let's start with that letter, and we'll start the game. And I know you looked at this letter.
I can't read the statement.
No, I will highlight a few things here. There's no way I'm going to read this statement.
I mean, it's 2 paragraphs long.
It's not a very intelligent, moving statement, but it starts off, the business community in Minnesota prides itself in providing leadership and solving problems to ensure a strong and vibrant state. The recent challenges facing our state have created widespread disruption and tragic loss of life. Okay, again, ICE announced its presence in December. This has been going, 2,000 agents sent at the very beginning of January. Already people have been, Renée Good shot 3 weeks ago in a horrific murder caught on tape. Mass protests, people not going to work. I mean, again, the timing of this is just so crazy. It's amazing how long they waited. On several of our shows, we've been calling out Target specifically. Where is the new CEO, Michael Fidelki? Where is the current CEO, soon to be the executive chair, Brian Cornell? It looks like you want to say something.
But listen to the fluffery.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
The recent challenges facing our state.
Yeah, the recent challenges.
Isn't the recent challenges ICE?
Well, that's the problem. So here's the other problem.
We're not even naming what the challenge is. We're just fluffing over it because we're afraid that as a business community, what happens if we piss off our supreme lord and master, our man baby?
And a lot of people have criticized the letter because of that. So they're saying that they want you to know that they've been working every day behind the scenes with federal, state, and local officials, including close communication with the governor, the White House. Okay, first of all, we know the governor is Tim Walz. The White House, I don't even know who that would be. Are we assuming they mean the president? Because they don't say the president. They just say the White House. And then they say the vice president, who we know is J.D. Vance, and local mayors. So they're too afraid to even say Trump's name. They're afraid to say the president. They say the White House. You know how many different people operate out of the White House? So this is a spineless call out. They say, and then they say, with yesterday's tragic news. And I guess they're referring to the killing of a white male nurse,
Pretti, yes,
who showed up with a firearm. I don't have to go into that story. I think that's what they're saying. Yesterday's tragic news is because they're overlooking the whole month of just the fear alone, just the fear that immigrants, people of color have had in that city is horrible. It's horrifying. But they're saying that they're calling for an immediate de-escalation of tensions and for state, local, and federal officials to work together to find real solutions. But they don't tell us what the solutions are, but just they want real solutions. I'm trying to be optimistic here, but
I know
this
you're
was
trying
weak.
really hard.
This was weak.
But forget the content of the letter. The timing of the letters is the thing that you keep pointing out that's interesting. The letter only comes out after there is, widespread, universal decrying of what's happening.
3 weeks after Renée Good was murdered in her car.
Right. So it doesn't happen then. It happens after Alex Pretti gets shot. And it happens after the Trump administration goes out immediately and says he was a domestic terrorist. And then 2,000 video angles come out that show that nothing that they said was true, and that they know in that city it's going to be riots, just riots, because that's what it's come to. Like, you basically have an internal militia that's taken over the city, and the people of the city are starting to fight back. They're fighting back with video cameras. They're not fighting back with weapons. They're fighting back with video cameras. And the reality here is these executives do not write this letter when they have to go out on any sort of political limb. They write this letter the minute it is patently obvious and universally reviled what is happening in that city, and there is no political fallout. And then they're so petrified to say anything, even then, that they don't name anybody. They don't say anything. They don't say ICE. They don't say Trump. They're still too fucking.
You're giving them a lot of credit.
Cowardly.
You're saying they wrote the letter. I don't even know. I'm not even sure who wrote the letter. I think we would have been better off. There were over 60 CEOs. I highlighted the 26 companies that are publicly traded companies. There's a lot of publicly traded companies in that area. There are 26, including big ones like Best Buy, Target, U.S. Bancorp. There's a lot of them. Here are a few things that I focused on. First of all, none of them could come out with their own individual statements, which is crazy to me. In fact, Target, we've been talking about a lot, Michael Fidelki, he still hasn't. I still look at the website. I've been checking it every day. All we have is reports of him talking to some of his employees, like on a video, I guess. But
he did a video for his employees.
Where the hell is their letter? Where's their statement? Really, if they're hiding behind this weak Chamber of Commerce letter is crazy to me. But just in looking at the list, the normal things stand out to me that they always do about these companies, and that's out of the 26 companies we highlight, I counted 5. This is actually more than I would have thought. 4 women out of the 26 are CEOs. That's what is that? That's roughly a little over 10%, right? And then I counted 3 people of color. So there you go, right? So there are the wrong people here. They're not even representing the constituents of their state and city anyway. I mean, it's like this is part of the long problem of corporate leadership. But anyway, I think we've talked enough about that letter. Give me a score.
For the letter?
For the whole experience. Start with the context of when it came out, the content of the letter, who signed
it's
it.
0 all the way around.
No. But you're saying a 0. This is a bad game. So you want to give it a 10?
So, this is why I wanted to talk about the scoring in the beginning. I'm so confused.
Yeah, so how should we play this?
It's horrible. It's the worst.
Give it a 10.
Is what it is.
You give me a 10.
I'm giving it a 10 for badness.
10 for badness.
And if you get,
I would have given it an 8 because they did something.
If you get Free Float's zine, which came out yesterday,
These CEOs need it.
In the zine, they had there was analysis of the people who signed this letter that sit on each other's boards.
So many. Did
you realize that nearly half of the signatories sit on one another's boards?
This makes it so much worse to me. It means
It means
that these people, you can make the assumption that, Best Buy CEO Corey Barry must be friends with who, I don't know, Sleep Number's CEO Linda Findley. But you can say, well, how do you know they're friends? But they sit on each other's boards. How have they not been talking about this? how have they not picked up the phone to some of their friends and been like, Jesus, like, what are we going to do? Or have they just been silent? Like, it is crazy. I mean, this is a close network of people here.
I mean, one of the signatories, Philip Saran,
Yeah.
who is the CEO of what? One of these dopey companies that
How dare you
I can't
besmirch
stand.
the company.
You find the company. But Philip Saran, I believe he's on the board of both Piper Sandler and SPS Commerce, both of whom signed it. So you have one guy who's on two of the boards right there, two other boards. You have like Jeff Harmoning, the CEO of General Mills, he's on the board of the Toro Company. Rick Olson, who's the CEO of the Toro Company, is on the board of the Donaldson Company. Like it's
nuts.
It's a fucking circle jerk.
Yeah.
And
Where
none
have
of these
they been?
people,
Yeah.
this isn't solidarity for a bunch of Minnesota types. None of these people say anything unless, first of all, the letter said nothing. It said, please, let's de-escalate. But I'm not saying who needs to de-escalate. And I'm not even saying where the challenge is
I know, and there's not
from.
even a proper name used. They don't honor the victims. They don't honor the immigrants who are living in fear. They don't even talk. They don't call out anyone. They don't.
See, what the lesson
crazy.
that they learned.
Yeah.
This what's interesting about the letter is the lesson that they learned from in 2020 when like it was Black Lives Matter and every CEO was coming out talking about Breonna Taylor and like every black person that ever got shot, they were like trying to name them and like be very performative about it. And turns out that they weren't. Most of these companies did nothing.
Right.
Like they put a DEI person in charge.
They felt like they had to. Yeah.
They felt like they had to when they had to say something. The lesson they took away from that is effectively we probably shouldn't say something if we don't really care, but we have to say something. So make it as banal as possible. So really what I'm seeing, what my read on this letter is that none of them actually really care.
But
this has very little effect on them personally.
I can agree with you, but they represent entire corporations that represent stakeholder networks. They are not.
If they thought
Jeff
like
Harmoning is not General Mills. He's just the CEO. He's not even. The board can fire him. The shareholders can vote him out. He has customers.
That's not the way they think. I think most of these places.
Then we have a problem.
Like,
we have a major problem.
My job is managing the balance sheet and shareholders. My job is not to placate all my employees. I need my employees to work.
For the amount of money they're making, especially the amount more than they make from their median employee, this is a significant problem.
We covered the fact that in Davos, you have like Jamie Dimon saying like AI could, really hurt employees, and meanwhile firing employees using AI. Larry Fink said AI is a massive disruption.
Let's get off AI. Let's stick to this story. Let's move on.
Like these guys say a thing and then do the opposite.
All right, so let's keep doing it. Let's keep playing the game.
So this is a 0. It's the worst.
It's a 10, you mean? How dare you screw up
10,
the scoring system? And this is no particular order, but I hustled and found all the comments I could make. Not just CEOs, but people who are high up. I was just looking for public statements. They're not easy to find. Keith Rabois, managing director of Khosla Ventures. This is another one of these. Really, this you could. And when history looks back, the blame for our societal disruption of big tech, big data, AI could be put in the laps of VC investors. Really, these could be the architects of the demise of our society. So it is important to shine a light on them. This guy's a managing director of Khosla Ventures. He said, no law enforcement has shot an innocent person. Illegals are committing violent crimes every day.
You know what? I'm going to zag on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is fabulous.
Because he's honest?
I'm going to say this is fabulous because the content of what he said is the worst thing you could possibly say. It's just gaslight lying. Like, no law enforcement has shot an innocent person. None.
Yeah. This is just clearly he's angry and emotional, right?
Like, no, that's never happened. You can say that definitively because what? You're a VC bro and everything you say is truth? Like, that is...
Well, I will say this.
Impossibly false.
I went to the Khosla Ventures website, and their tagline is, "We prefer brutal honesty to hypocritical politeness." So these are real men. And by the way, the managing director is it is 5 dudes, and they went to either Stanford or Harvard. I mean, these are the real men running America, right? I mean, these are powerful, honest men. So how are you going to score this?
Yeah. So I'm going to give it a 0 because
wait, now you're already messing with the intent of the game.
Yeah, because everybody who looks for funding, like anybody looking for funding, any institutional investor who's got assets, Coastal Ventures is not your place.
Wait, so you're telling me that? So you're
he
crediting,
has just outed himself.
So you're saying it's not bad because it's honest? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it's not bad because you now know.
Okay.
Before you might not have known where
you
this guy
ruin every one of my
on
games, by the way.
But now,
I will say this.
You know what makes this? You know what makes this better than the fluffy letter?
Yeah.
Is that this says a thing.
That's true.
However heinous it is.
We know who he is now. We know who.
And we know his fucking name.
He spoke his
10
truth.
minutes ago, I had no idea who Keith Rabois is, and I could care less.
Ventures.
Now I know Coastal Ventures, at least one of their bro dude partners, has absolutely no idea what it is to be a human being in society.
Then how do you? I want to move on because we have a lot of these. But then how do you respond to the follow up to this, which is that the founder Vinod Khosla, he had to. So he came out along with another guy who was at the company, Ethan Choi. They both spoke out against their coworker Keith Rabois. He hasn't been fired or anything, of course. The founder said he was using a lot more strong language, but again, he had to respond to his employee, to one of his fellow managing directors, embarrassing his firm, I guess, in his company. He couldn't come out with a statement on his own, but he responded by saying macho ice vigilantes running amok, empowered by a conscienceless administration. So he used some strong words there, but again, we had to wait for him. He's counteracting the opinion of his fellow managing director. So what do you think about his response?
Vinod Khosla is like Indian. He was born in India, and literally the guy said, "What did he say? Vicious illegals
are committing violent crimes every day.
Violent crimes every day, while his boss is an immigrant." I don't know anything about his immigration status when he came to the country.
Notice he's not threatening Keith Rabois' job. He didn't even
Keith Rabois makes him a lot of money.
He didn't even call him out. He just put his own. Anyway, let's move on from that. That's what's going on. Yeah. So to Matt's point, Coastal Ventures, we now know who you are. So great, thanks. All right, Target's incoming CEO Michael Fidelki. And again, this is not to the public. This is in a video message sent to employees. This occurred on January 26th. So this would actually be a day after the letter. The Minnesota letter, the CEOs, 60 CEOs. He said, right now, as someone who is raising a family here in the Twin Cities and as a leader of this hometown company, I want to acknowledge where we are. The violence and loss of life in our community is incredibly painful. Blah, 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 blah.
The important part is the blah, blah, blah.
But really, I don't know. And again, this is an internal message, although all these messages get leaked now. So if he would have said something, after Renée Good was shot, we would have heard it. The best part of this to me is that a company spokesman declined to comment, and there's still nothing official on their website. So how do you rate this one? How do you rate? So this is the first thing we've heard, and he's not yet the CEO. Remember, he's few days away, February 1st. But this is the first quasi statement we've even heard from this guy, Michael. How do you think he did? What do you give me a score?
I mean, isn't he just cosplaying as Brian Cornell? Brian Cornell said, we have been role models that drive change, and our voice is important. We got to make sure we represent our company principles. Right? That was no. That was in 2020.
Right. Okay.
But as a target, this is what Brian Cornell said. As a target team, Brian Cornell, who's still the CEO, didn't sign this. Incoming CEO Michael Fidelki signed it.
It's true.
He didn't. Executive chair.
He didn't sign the CEO letter, which is a bit odd.
Didn't the executive chair wasn't involved in the video message to employees, despite the fact that he's going to be running the company from
and
the
making
board.
an executive salary.
Brian Cornell said in 2020, as a target team, we've huddled, we've consoled, we've witnessed horrific scenes similar to what's playing out now. And what Fidelki says is, I like the violence and lawful life in our community is incredibly painful. I know it's weighing heavily on many of you across the country, as it is with me. What's happening affects us not just as a company, but as people, neighbors, friends, and family.
So what took them so long? Yeah,
they wrote the same fucking letter. They used the same.
Michael Fidelki's
AI app.
is not as strong actually. Fidelki's is weaker. It's not saying. I don't see horrific.
Of course, it's weaker because nobody actually wants to say a thing.
I just don't know what took them so long.
Fidelki,
Give me a score.
The company that you are quote unquote inheriting, they arrested Target employees in a Target who were there legally.
Yeah, and then just dumped them somewhere else in Minneapolis. They didn't even bring them back. They just dumped them somewhere.
No charges.
I mean,
that
alone,
no problem.
That's the moment that Michael Fidelki. Because again, I as part of the context that I gave,
that happened 2 weeks ago.
As part of the context I gave at the top of the show, there is the New York Times. On January 17th, this is the New York Times. On January 17th, the headline is National anger spills into Target stores again. And then 5 days later, Target store staff are skipping work over ICE's crackdown in Minnesota. I mean, that was 10 days ago, Michael Fidelki.
Yeah, what are you doing,
That's a
Fidelki?
New York Times calling you out.
It's Brian Cornell. What are you doing?
Let me add to that. From The Guardian, January 13th, 4 days before the New York Times article, madness, 2 U.S. citizens violently detained in ICE in Minnesota. That's the one you're talking about. Target employees forced to the ground. So Michael Fidelki has sat on this for what reason? Brian Cornell and Michael Fidelki, I don't know. So give me a score on this statement, on this video message.
That's a 10.
10. All right, let's move on.
Worst. Again, 10 is the worst.
We have a lot. Let's move on.
The next one actually will sum up most of the rest.
Lloyd Vogel, CEO, Garage Ground Gear. This is a company in Minneapolis. Said on LinkedIn, my primary rationale, said he felt compelled to condemn the shootings. My primary rationale was to show solidarity with my community. It's also just bad for business when people are afraid to leave their homes.
There it is. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the whole thing.
He said, there's so much fear in Minnesota right now. It would just be cowardice to not have a perspective on this. That to me is the most important part of this, is that forget everything else. But you're the Target CEO or the incoming CEO. Forget this. If you're like a Republican or Democrat, you must notice just the amount of hysteria and fear and protest and shootings. Right, like you have to have something to say, right? I mean, you have to have a perspective. You could come right down in the middle if you want, but to have no perspective, I mean, Target must be one of the major employers in that area.
What's interesting about what he said is, so this is like a one store place in Minneapolis, right? It's like small.
Yeah.
But he's still not publicly traded.
No.
He's the CEO of a small garage grown gear. It's like you look at their
Snowboards,
about
maybe? I don't know what
page,
it
and
is.
it's like tents and shoes and shit.
Well, it's
and
Minnesota. It's cold.
There's like 20 people, right? Like it's small. That's kind of the point. What he says, two things that I feel like sum up everything. The second thing is the one that you like. It would just be cowardice not to have a perspective on this. Correct.
Well,
you hear that, Michael Fidelki? You see the letter?
Beyond cowardice, it's like this is the problem I have in the first place. You're not doing your job. I mean, you represent so many stakeholders in that state and city. You're not doing your job if you don't have a perspective or a statement.
But he also summed up why no one has perspective, because it's just bad for business. He said when people are afraid to leave their homes because he's a small retail shop. But the reality is, if you are Stephen Helmsley at United Health Group, or you are like Michael Fidelki, you are less worried about people afraid to leave their homes than it's bad for business to say something that angers our Lord and Master man baby Trump. That's it. We just don't want to piss off. I don't want Stephen Miller saying we're woke. I don't want Kristi Noem saying we're domestic terrorists. I don't want man baby Trump to notice, because when man baby notices, his thumbs start going, and all of a sudden he says, that's...
Or he's going to threaten to buy 10% of your company or something like that.
He's going to buy 10% of your company. He's going to close you down. He's going to do tariffs on just your supply chain somehow. Yeah. Like, that is what... And I get that you are trying to thread a needle, but
No,
that
I
needle
don't
has
get
been
that.
thread for you every time you bend
You
and
say
contort
that?
yourself.
You say that, but Costco has been standing out and speaking out. Their parking lot is still really full.
Are you kidding? Like
It's
Costco
not,
is
it's not-
fabulous.
but I'm just saying,
But
it's not
the fact
affecting
is-
business.
The fact is, like, while you're busy, like with cowardice, contorting yourself so that you don't get noticed, your people's going to stop coming to work, and people are going to look at you and say, "What a feckless bunch of fucking sycophants."
What's their score for Lloyd
and
Vogel?
Investors should be looking at them and say, like, "Do you think the people who have the spine to like make hard mergers and acquisition decisions and make hard choices about pivoting the business model to something for future growth, do you think those are the same people who have no spine when it comes to it's not cool that like ICE agents come into my store, arrest my employees, and they do it illegally?" Like,
Well, I'll
you
tell you
should
this.
have if you blowhards are able to go out and talk about Fed policy all day long, have a perspective on your own employees and your future. These people don't have spines.
I'll
there
tell
are
you
no
this.
spines.
At a-
This guy has at least a modicum of one. Good for him.
At a minimum, I'm looking at the board of Target. There are several directors who've been there for over 10 years. Douglas Baker, Robert Edwards, Monica Lozano, Donald Nouse, Brian Cornell. At a minimum, these long tenured directors who didn't have the backbone to do anything about it, I would vote you out. I mean, you're gone. I mean, this is
Gone.
You're like
Every one
you
of
don't
you.
understand. You're not doing your job. You're
You
ignoring
also- you
stakeholders.
oversaw
You're making
the
Target
flip-flop.
a more of a joke. I mean, this is just you're not.
You oversaw the flip flop on DEI and in Target's case on multiple companies. So
All right.
Derica Rice
All right.
is on
We gotta move
multiple
on.
companies.
Give me a
You have
score for
Dimitri Stockton, multiple companies. Like,
give me a score for Lloyd Vogel, CEO Garage.
Lloyd, you get a 0,
Okay.
as in this is great. This is
Means it's not
fabulous. I'm
bad.
glad you said something.
January 22nd. This is like last week. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO and Chair Jamie Dimon said at Davos. I'll mind you. I should say at Davos.
Oh, good.
But
Where
it
all
was
the little people
But
live.
it was before the letter, right? Because these CEOs are getting a lot of credit here for finally speaking out. They're getting a lot of credit. But Jamie Dimon said 4 days before, "I don't like what I'm seeing. 5 grown men beating up a little old lady. So I think we should calm down a little bit on the internal anger about immigration. We need these people. They work in our hospitals and hotels and restaurants and agriculture, and they're good people. They should be treated that way." I mean, look, I know you like to dunk on Jamie Dimon, but this seems actually like kind of bold compared to that Chamber of Commerce
Compared to
letter.
the
I mean,
letter.
and again,
Look,
this
it
is
depends what our bar
before
is.
Alex Pretti was murdered. This is before.
It depends what our bar is.
Hey,
I'm going to give credit
okay.
where credit is due.
You tell me, what's the
At least
score?
Jamie Dimon said something before everybody else. He spouts his mouth about everything.
Hey,
like
still.
at this point, everything. And finally, he spouted his mouth about something that, like, I can tell him, like, okay, fine. That has another stakeholder that you're caring about.
Well,
and
this
it's not
is-
just about hearing your own voice.
But here's
good.
the thing.
I'm going to give him
Yeah.
a 4.
But here's the thing, though, which he's the first one to even start to talk about is the key phrase here is that we need these people. I mean, in my state, I will tell you it's a largely African population being targeted, and I think they're here for the same reason why they're in Minneapolis is that we have a very big Somalian population. But what these people do here, what do? They work in healthcare. They're nurses. They work in these like retirement homes where the main white people who are angry at the immigrants won't do the jobs. They work in service industries. I mean, to me, it's ludicrous. You're targeting our nurses, like this is who you're targeting. So at least Jamie Dimon like actually said a thing that was important. They work in our hospitals, our hotels, our restaurant, right? I mean, anyway, I'm glad he put a face on these people instead of just kind of talking around the issue.
I'll give him
a 4.
credit for it. I'll give him a 4.
How about this? God, this I don't even know how to like talk about this one. I mean, the state of our country now. So this was on Saturday, which would be January 24th. So this would be the night that Alex Pretti was murdered. Yeah, it's the very night. This is what's going on at the White House. There's a screening, a black tie event, a screening for a documentary produced by Jeff Bezos and Amazon about, of all things, Melania Trump, who I don't know what Melania Trump has achieved in her life, but whatever. A screening of a documentary called Melania, a black tie event where they were given monogrammed buckets of popcorn, framed screening tickets, a limited edition of Melania's book. And who was at this event? Are you ready for this? This is while Minnesota is basically like burning to the ground. That's a bit hyperbolic, I realize, but still. Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple. Lisa Su, CEO of chipmaker AMD. Eric Yuan, CEO of Zoom. Lynn Martin, president of the New York Stock Exchange. General Electric CEO Larry Culp. These are the names I could get my hands on. I was scraping a lot of articles, so undoubtedly there are more. But can you believe where they are on that night? They're Tim Cook, whose company is in California. In Menlo Park, California, Apple, he's in Washington, D.C. to attend a documentary. And none of these people had statements. None of these people had anything to say. And again, this was a documentary produced by Amazon, of all companies. I mean, what a joke. So how do you rate this on the bad game scale, 0 to 10?
I'm
really shocked. This is unprecedented.
This one is not shocking.
Really,
to me.
We didn't have this level of nonsense in past administrations. I mean,
this is pure graft.
Okay,
right?
but this is ugly.
Well, I mean, they did have it, but they waited until after they were out of office. Like Obama got
after
you're right, get like
Netflix,
a Netflix deal for like millions, hundreds of millions, and then didn't do anything and just kept the money.
But while one of the more significant anti-federal police movements going on in one of our states,
none of this is shocking. They all have supply chains.
Okay, so how bad is this? 0 to 10.
They don't live in Minnesota. I'm giving this a 5. I mean, it's all right. This is run of the mill now.
So then here we go. Let's get to Apple CEO Tim Cook. So several days after that movie and after the CEOs of Minnesota released a statement, Apple CEO Cook jumped into the fire. Again, this is a few days after. This is the headline. Apple CEO Tim Cook says it's time for de-escalation in Minneapolis.
What is with that word?
I don't know. It's
the only word they know?
His CNBC headline, Apple's Cook says he's heartbroken by Minneapolis events and has spoken with Trump. Now, here's what he said. He said, I believe America is strongest when we live up to our highest ideals, when we treat everyone with dignity and respect, no matter who they are, where they're from. He said he had a good conversation with the president this week where I shared my views, and I appreciate his openness to engaging on issues that matter to us all. Tim Cook has completely lost his mind. I don't even know, he is about ready to leave Apple. He has made over $1 billion at Apple, right? That we already know about. Still holds shares. Why does he need to be doing this now? What is he up to?
I don't mind that he has a statement. I just think his statement's stupid.
What is he up to? He appreciates the openness that Trump has.
I had a good conversation with Trump about the murder of a citizen by a illegal
So what is he heartbroken? What exactly is he heartbroken about? Like which part of it?
Like
that people are protesting? Is that the heartbreaking part? Like which part is he mad about? I don't even understand.
America is strongest when we live up to our highest ideals. Does that include going to an event where a tech CEO basically bribes the president by doing a documentary on his wife?
I mean, Tim Cook.
That's America's highest ideals.
Are you Brian Cornell Jr.?
You guys
Who are you?
You're fucking all over the place.
This is bad.
It's just all bad.
Yeah.
It's all bad. It's not as bad as Keith Rabois or whatever his name is.
It's kind of close. I'm kind of with you. At least Keith. Look, I'm not.
I like that Keith said a real thing.
I'm not here to tell you whether you should be on the right or the left of the political spectrum. Keith is just viewing his honest. I don't like what Keith said. What is Tim Cook saying? Matt? What is he saying?
What are any of them saying?
No, but what?
I give it an 8.
Okay,
it's an 8.
He's heartbroken. I don't even know what he's heartbroken about. Is he heartbroken that people are noticing that ICE is killing? I don't even know what he's heartbroken. Let's move on. Oh, here's my favorite by far. This guy has just become he almost triggers me more than Elon Musk now, because Elon Musk is like a cartoon character of hate and and racism, misogyny. But this guy is just such a joker. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. So this is January.
Did you have something to say?
January 27th. This is yesterday. Again, this is after the letter came out. This is 3 days after Alex Pretti was killed. So he had a little bit of cover. Once the Minneapolis and Minnesota CEOs said a thing, some of the other CEOs felt a little bit more like they could have the courage to say something. He is just Mr. Gobbledygook, which I guess is not surprising. Maybe AI wrote this letter for him. But he comes out with just nonsense. His statement starts with, "I love the U.S. and its values of democracy and freedom, and will be supportive of the country however I can. Open AI will too." I'm already creeped out by this statement. Because first of all, you shouldn't speak for the company. I mean, really, it's
no, that's fine. That's
okay.
what CEOs do.
Okay,
that's fine.
And then it's just a bunch of blah 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 blah. But the thing to highlight here is President Trump is a very strong leader, and I hope he will rise to the moment and unite the country. Really? Like the I mean, really?
I mean, what are you going
to
say?
We're here. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. He hopes.
We have 3 more years of ass kissing.
I know,
to do.
Sam Altman, I pray you're listening, and I think you are. I know you're a college dropout, so maybe I'm speaking too quickly, or maybe my diction is too dense for you. But what have you seen in the political record of this very strong leader, President Trump, that makes you think that he is going to unite the country? Like, no, but really, like who? And again, I know you're a dropout. So you don't have you have no ability to critically analyze. You have no ability to consider.
You can raise money though.
Right. But so I really want to know, and reach out to me personally. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the only, or email me. I would really like to know how you think that he's going to unite the country at this point.
I want to know.
President Trump, Sam Altman. How do you think that President Trump is going to unite the country? I'd really like to see that.
I want to know.
Actually,
I want the first part of the sentence. I want to know how you measure very strong leader. There's literally a trade called the taco trade, which is Trump always chickens out because he postures and he walks around, he beats his chest, and he acts all manly and tough, and then he's a man baby. He's just like grabbing at money for himself.
I love this part.
The estimates are that he made $1.4 billion in his first year of his presidency.
I love this part too. As a company, we aim to stick to our convictions and not get blown around by changing fashions too much. We didn't become super woke when that was popular. Yeah. And again, he has no understanding of what it means to be woke, but let's just forget about all that. And he ends with this beauty. But we are going to continue to try to figure out how to actually do the right thing as best we can. What does that even mean? I mean, that's like 3rd grade level of what you're going to try to figure out to do the best. By the way, Sam, I don't trust your ability to articulate what is good and bad anymore. So I actually would prefer that you don't try. I really if you're going to do us a favor, fold up the company and stop. Just stop.
Here's what I.
Sam Altman really triggers me. He really gets me, this guy.
That was his public statement.
Really gets me, this guy, yeah.
That was his public statement. But this morning it broke.
Oh, another one.
That Altman sent an internal Slack message to all of his employees at OpenAI. And he said, quote, "What's happening with ICE is going too far."
Oh, which part?
ICE.
The protesters?
You know what? He said, quote,
thing.
"There's a big difference between deporting violent criminals and what's happening now. We need to get the distinction right." All I know is that he is the one person who said ICE.
What about our domestic violent criminals?
I'm going to give him.
Go ahead.
Nothing burger public statement. And saying Trump is very strong is fucking stupid and heinous. But saying the word ICE is now the most courageous thing you can do anymore as a CEO. So I'm going to give him a 5.
Let's try to speed up a little here.
Let's do speed round.
James Diet, global business at OpenAI. Hey, so we're staying at OpenAI, right? James Diet, global business at OpenAI. He says, quote, "There is far more outrage." Oh, I love this one. "There is far more outrage from tech leaders over a wealth tax than masked ICE agents terrorizing communities and executing civilians in the streets. Tells you what you need to know about the values of our industry." James Diet, I mean,
Yeah, zero.
But I mean,
that's
that's
fabulous.
right.
There you go.
That's a common.
How hard was
statement.
that?
It wasn't very hard.
How hard was that?
And James, thank you for actually putting your name on it and putting your right. Like he spoke out, not an anonymous troll on Reddit or whatever.
But why can't the CEO do this? Why has it got to be the global head of global business at OpenAI?
Quickly, angel investor, and again, I'm just trying to collect everything I could. Angel investor Jason Calacanis. Once again, I remind everyone that our leaders are failing us. True leadership would be to calm the situation down by telling these non-peaceful protesters to stay home while recalling these inadequately trained agents.
He simultaneously blamed the protesters, and he both sides did.
Yeah,
that's a 10. Get the fuck out with your both sides.
Okay, Jeff Dean, chief scientist, Google DeepMind and Google Research, Gemini lead. So this is a big deal. This is not a little
Jeff,
peon.
I got a lot to tell you about Gemini.
Okay, that aside, again, this is a big player at Alphabet. He says, quote, "This is absolutely shameful. Agents of a federal agency unnecessarily escalating and then executing a defenseless citizen whose offense appears to be using his cell phone camera. Every person, regardless of political affiliation, should be denouncing this."
Zero. Fabulous.
Jeff Dean, I applaud you. That's a strong statement. Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, he's a great friend to our show. He's another one that tweaks me all the time. He
triggers you.
He works at Yale. He's like the self-proclaimed expert in everything when it comes to corporations, because I guess, working at an Ivy makes you like a leading expert somehow. He says CEOs are feeling the community pressure. He said that reactions that convey sorrow and don't mention Trump or ICE are likely to be perceived as an unwelcome challenge to the White House's immigration agenda. That is not what the Trump administration wanted. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
What are you saying?
I don't really know.
He's
the king of saying nothing.
Yeah, you basically said that CEOs are...
They're feeling community pressure?
Upset at CEOs, and CEOs shouldn't say Trump or ICE. They shouldn't say anything because it'll upset Trump. What are you saying?
Shouldn't they feel pressure? That? I mean, they're making $20 million and so much more in shares. Shouldn't they feel pressure?
That's a 7. Like, what is that? If you're going to have a perspective, have a perspective. If you're going to say nothing, just shut up.
I swear every time, and I'm a proud New Englander, and I'm a very proud supporter of education, higher education. But I swear every time Jeffrey Sonnenfeld of Yale speaks, I feel like it denigrates a great institution. I'm talking to you, Yale. Business Roundtable CEO Joshua Bolten.
Now we're talking.
Asked to comment on the chaos in Minneapolis, replied with a statement. This is a good one. Replied with a statement endorsing the Minnesota Chamber's call for cooperation between state, local, and federal authorities to immediately de-escalate the situation.
Wow.
So he pointed to the other statement.
Really stuck it to him.
This is the CEO of the Business Roundtable, like the strongest network of CEOs on the globe, Joshua Bolten. He just pointed to a memo. He's like, yeah, I agree with those schmucks.
That's
a leader, right? What a leader.
You know what it is, though? Yeah. You know what it is? It's so dumb. It's funny.
It is dumb.
I'm giving it a 2.
Okay.
It's not bad.
What a leader.
Comedy.
What a real man. Robert Payson, CEO of toy company Radio Flyer. Don't they make the wagons? The red wagons?
From 100 years ago, yeah.
I am deeply concerned about the current state of our democracy and the continued actions we are seeing from President Trump and his administration that are intended to undermine democratic institutions, the rule of law, and the norms that hold our country together. That just seems like a normal,
that seems like what every
an adult,
CEO could
very
put
adult
out.
statement, right?
Just like
it's not flaming any.
Managed to not mention ICE, didn't mention execution, but just that's your 2020 statement.
And he makes red wagons.
I'm gonna give that a 2.
The guy who's smart enough to make red wagons can come up with that. At
least he said Trump.
Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic, called the events in Minnesota a horror on Monday. An Anthropic spokeswoman said the company did not have contract with ICE. Whoa.
I mean, I guess that's a good data point.
You all right with that one?
It's kind of nothing-ish.
All right, give me a score.
I give it a 5. It's fine.
IceOut.tech. You heard about this? This is a statement. This is from January 24th. It's the day that Alex Pretti was murdered. This is a group of tech workers. I don't know. I checked this list yesterday, so this list might have grown. They're coming out saying that they condemn the killing of Pretti, the violent surge of federal agents, the wanton brutality we've seen from ICE, So they had some strong words.
If they're really tech professionals, they could do more than have strong words.
I agree.
Sit down with your fucking CEO.
And I want you know what you think about this list. And again, this list might have grown since yesterday. I counted 811 people on the list. 508 actually named themselves, the full name and their title and their company. 19 with only their first name and their title, and then 284 were too afraid to even put their name on the list. So almost a full third were too afraid to put their full name down. So, but what do you think about the tactic of this kind of a list? IceOut.tech statement. This is the one that predated the one that came out of the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. This is like the first known kind of list of a statement against these people. What do you think?
Look, when you eyeball the list, it's like half of them are Amazon, Apple,
of course,
like Alphabet, like they're major companies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know that your executives are out there fucking licking Trump's behind right now. Either leave the company or say something to your own CEO.
I'm glad you said this. I think this is actually a sort of a crisis of our modern American generation, like these younger generations, is their willingness to go and work directly at these type of companies. They working for VC, working for crypto, working for blockchain, whatever nonsense they're doing. It's always it's just to enrich themselves. All of these people. If you can't affect the leadership at your companies, and I know you can't because most of them are dictatorships because of like things like dual class shares. Why don't you leave the company, bring your services to places that really need them, places that help the community, schools, library, whatever. But don't stay at don't stay at Amazon. Don't stay at Meta. Like that's the part that really troubles me.
Hey, look, it's not that I disapprove of the statement.
Take a stand.
Do you have a real authentic view of this?
We need your intelligence in other places, honestly.
Because what I want in that statement is we have contacted the CEOs of all the companies we work with and said unequivocally we should not and cannot abet ICE or whatever, like something else. It's fine. Otherwise, it's 5. It's
all right,
5.
Two more, and we'll wrap up this really depressing bad game covering all the CEO and corporate statements about what's going on with ICE in America and specifically what's going on in the state of Minnesota. This one threw me because I don't. This was just this morning I tagged this story because I don't know where he's been. Correct me if I'm wrong. We try our best to track all the statements of this kind. In fact, this is why we talk about Costco a lot because it really blew our minds when Costco in January came out and supported DEI, and then they spoke very loudly against the tariffs. Right, recently calling out the Trump administration, but Reid Hoffman, who is the dude behind LinkedIn, so you can thank him if LinkedIn is driving you crazy. Reid Hoffman says business leaders are wrong to stay silent about the Trump administration.
Hoffman is a...
Have I missed this? I know he supports the Democratic Party.
He's a super long time Democratic supporter.
I'm not seeing any statements out of LinkedIn, out of Reid Hoffman over the last. I mean, not public.
He's not.
Maybe I've missed them.
He's a board member
Forgive me
now.
if I'm
He's
wrong.
long gone.
Forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm not actually seeing a loud voice out of Reid Hoffman. In fact, his platform is devolved into just like a bunch of trolls and a bunch of nonsense. So I don't. But anyway, that's what Reid Hoffman said. He said the theory that if you just keep your mouth shut, the storm will blow over and it won't be a problem. You should be disabused of that theory. Now, I agree with him, but I want to know how he's using his position and platform to do this. I'm not, other than writing checks to Democrats.
That's what he's doing.
Okay, well, it's not enough in 2026. It's not enough.
You know what? Like, I'm not going to shit on Hoffman.
I'm not shitting on him. I'm just saying, it's convenient to do it now. It's convenient to do it now, like after
he's an AI.
The first bunch of CEOs have spoken. Yeah.
He's one of the guys who's like a massive AI advocate, and I disagree with him there. But for this, I'm going to give it a 2. It's fine. I like this is Hoffman being Hoffman, and honestly, if somebody's going to say it, Reed Hoffman you'd expect to, and to say it strongly.
Reed, you have a lot of power.
He's been doing this.
You have a lot of wealth. You have a platform. Do more and join us. Help us get our word out about.
Yeah, I'd love to have.
We're
him join
trying
us,
to cover.
but that's
Reed,
different.
I think you'd enjoy what we're up to. We're trying to cover the meritocracy of corporate America. We're trying to define it. We're trying to highlight the lack of diversity in leadership. So join us and help us and make a difference. Finally, for this terrible bad game of January 28th, 2026, Palantir, one of our favorite companies, Alex Karp, Palantir defends work with ICE to staff. This is the only company that's taken the other point of view, defending its work with ICE to staff following killing of Alex Pretti. Leadership defended its work as in part improving ICE's operational effectiveness. So they're taking the other. So are you proud of Palantir for being honest? Is this bad?
Improving ICE's operational effectiveness is not what they're doing.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, how do you come?
You know what ICE is doing now?
Yeah.
And there's not direct evidence of this, but there is basically some sort of anecdotal and rumor-based evidence of this. We know that ICE is collecting license plates and pictures of protesters. We know because ICE agents themselves who have covered their face. Only in this fucking version of America do we think it's okay that law enforcement cover their face and hide their identity.
Quite right? Like that's
every
legal,
other you don't go to your local police station and they're all fucking wearing like hockey masks so you can't see who they are. These thugs are wearing masks, but these thugs are taking pictures of your face if you show up at a protest and taking your license plates down. And they've told protesters that they are putting them in a database as a domestic terrorist. Now, Department of Homeland Security said there is no such database. Well, they don't have a database.
Actually,
but you know who has a massive database that they're using to do exactly this sort of thing? Palantir. That's literally their business model. They get every piece of information and data they can. They scrape the internet. They scrape your pictures. They're looking at everything to have a profile. It's basically like Minority Report. And right now, their biggest client is the U.S. government and people like ICE, so that other police forces and ICE can use it to target people. Otherwise, how do they know to go into a target and arrest two employees that weren't protesting?
Good point.
They're not illegal immigrants. They're not undocumented.
Other than just focusing on race alone, just looking at the color
Unless
of
you're
skin.
standing outside and you're like, some brown people walked in, we should go arrest them.
Yeah.
But that you'd be arresting so many people like walking into Target that it would be like they targeted those people and they made a show out of it. They get that information from something. And that's where the Palantirs of the world come in. ICE's operational effectiveness, you are ICE, you fucker. Like, and the things that you're saying, he's the one who came out on stage and didn't he say like, he said things about like war is good for business. And like, he was saying all sorts of crazy shit the last 3 months. Like he's literally unhinged about the things that they're doing.
Yeah, he's lost it. Listen,
the only way to rule is with power and violence. He said something about ruling with violence. This is the way it's been done.
I'll end on this. You mentioned that federal, ICE agents are being told, they're telling people that they're collecting personal data about the protesters. There is reporting out of the New Republic yesterday. A leaked memo exposes how DHS is building a database on protesters. So it's not just a rumor. It's not a rumor,
right? But Palantir's involvement is the part that's a rumor. But Palantir's business model is doing that.
Yeah, what's this?
So if Palantir's not involved, who is? They're the ones with the ICE contracts. They're one of the biggest ICE contracts like in the country.
Give me a score on that.
It is the 10iest 10. Like what? Like everything that guy says is a trigger to me. Like he's such a fucking everything about him. And he's got like a dual class board. He shits on, like people who go to college and his board is stacked with Stanford.
It's mostly Stanford, but one guy from Duke.
It's a woman. It's a woman
from Duke.
How dare you? One
Stanford
woman
and
from
Duke. Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up. Your score, the bad game is a 4.75. So what does that mean? Where are we in America?
We're the inverse, right? It's the inverse.
So what does a 5 mean?
So 4.7 is a 5.3.
So what are
the
we?
Good game.
So is it good or bad?
It's not. It's.
Give me a quick prediction before we get out of here. Are we going to get a lot more CEO statements, or you think they're going to start shutting up immediately again? Like, have we opened the floodgates, or
it all depends on what Trump does. If Trump reacts to some statement, they all shut up immediately.
Right. Well,
the minute if he doesn't react and they backtrack, then every CEO is going to come out and say, "What's happening is really deplorable. We're happy we have an audience with Trump to tell them." Okay. It's all bullshit. That's Hazelnut Rallis, Damien to his friends. I'm your analyst, Holman Scurry. We are free floats. That was a depressing, long, bad show. But there'll be better shows coming soon. I don't think we're doing a proxy countdown this week, are we? Are we doing one? Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. Who knows? We don't know. But we will do a Friday show. And there was a shareholder primacy that dropped today. Mike Levin and Ann Lipton talking about Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yes.
They went deep. And every time Ann talks, I feel like I took a class. She talks for like 30 seconds about her favorite movie, and I feel like
it's too bad Sam Altman can't understand her.
No, he doesn't read Lipton, apparently. That's all we got. Until then, good. Bye.